Greg, and welcome to my channel, Midnight Oil Software. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to animate puppets in Unity. And by puppets, what I'm talking about are the paper puppets that I hand drew and that I scanned into the computer and imported into Unity as sprites. I use them for cutscenes in my Ninja Eggs game, which is an Angry Birds clone. And I got the inspiration from a guy named Mark Kister. Some of you may remember Mark Kister had a show on PBS called The Imagination Station. And he also had a show called The Secret City where he taught how to draw in 3D. Well, my wife and I have really been enjoying taking his 3D drawing classes over the summer during this quarantine period. They're online classes. And one of the things that he does that we really enjoy that makes the lessons fun is he has these paper puppets that he's drawn, and he'll every once in a while during the lesson, he'll just pull out one of these puppets and he'll flash it across the camera and he'll have some, funny quip or something that he says. And here's a little montage I put together.
Stress is on the bus. Stress is on the bus. Someone typing beep, 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 beep. Someone typing beep, beep, beep. Hey, guys, let's push your genius button. Push your genius button here. Right there. Push that genius button. Push your genius button, everybody. Push your button of brilliance. Take your finger and say, yippee. Yippee, it's time to draw. No, you remember, you have the license to be creative. You have a license to flop. If your drawing is not perfect, do not stress. Don't worry about it. No stress. Stress is on the bus. Bye-bye. Say goodbye-bye to stress. No stress. Stress is on the bus.
So you get the idea. And so I thought it would be really fun in my Ninja Eggs game, which is really sort of a tribute or an homage to Mark Kister for all the great lessons he's given us on how to draw in 3D, is if I had cutscenes at the beginning of each level where I show one of those paper puppets that I drew and have a little audio clip that I grabbed from his lessons. So here's some examples. I'll switch over here to my Ninja Eggs game. And so if I click play, right now I'm on the koalas level. So you see the cute little koalas there. If I hit play,
Yippee!
You see it randomly played that little yippee puppet. If I hit play again, we might get that one or we might get a different one.
You guys are such geniuses. You're geniuses.
So I basically have several different puppets that I've created. If we go to my prefabs folder, let's see, I've got Einstein. I've got one called the Penguin puppet. If I turn my puppet manager off and I drag this penguin puppet into the scene and hit play.
Pencil power.
Oops,
Woo!
I dragged the wrong one in. That's pencil power. Yeah, I dragged the pencil power puppet in. Let me drag the penguin puppet in. Hit play.
Parachuting penguins.
So I have, an array of puppets. I have a class called Puppet Manager, which I'll do another video and show how I did that. That will, basically it has a script on it that takes a collection of puppets and it will randomly select one of these puppets to play. And I'll explain how I did that in another video. But for this video, what I want to show you is how I actually created the puppets and how I animated them. So to demonstrate that, I created an empty scene called Puppet Demo. And the only thing I've got in there is my camera and my audio manager. And I'm going to go to my art folder and into my puppets subfolder, and I'm going to drag in the penguin sprite. It's actually just a penguin image, and it creates a sprite from it. It adds a sprite renderer, as you can see up there. And I'm going to add some components to it. Actually, first thing I'm going to do is in this Puppet Demo folder, I'm going to drag this in here as a prefab. And then I want to animate this, and I'm going to use Timeline to animate it. So up under Window, Sequencing, you'll see something called Timeline. If you click that, actually I want to select Penguin first. So I select my Penguin sprite, Window, Sequencing, Timeline. And then if I click create, it is going to add a timeline director component to my Penguin game object. And then I want it to put it in the Puppet Demo folder. And so I will click save. And there it is. This puppet now has a playable director on it. And I also want to add an audio source to it because I'm going to want to play a sound clip. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. If I come down here under my timeline, my playable director, if I click this plus button here, I can pick audio track. And right now there's no audio source. So I'm going to grab my Penguin and I'm going to drag it there. So the audio source that's on my Penguin is the audio source we're going to animate with the timeline. And then I'm going to drag this up here and dock it just so we can see it while I go through my hierarchy here to my sounds, Mark Kister. And I'm going to grab this Penguins clip and I'm going to drop it in at about 1 second. And so if I hit play,
Parachuting penguins.
You can see when it gets to the 1 second mark, it plays that audio clip.
Parachuting penguins.
So that's good. Now I'm going to drag this back down here. And I'm going to add an animator, an animation track. And the thing I want to animate is the penguin. And when I do that, it's going to ask me if I want to create an animator on the penguin, and I do. So it did that. So now if we select our penguin, you can see it's got an animator. So how do we animate it? Well, in the scene, I'm going to pick the move tool, and I'm going to click record. And so I'm at the very first position in the timeline at 0 minutes, 0 seconds. So I'm going to click record. And I'm just going to grab this guy and drag him up off the screen. And I'm going to drag him over to the right a little bit. And then I'm going to move it over to about where the audio starts. And I'm going to drag him down into the scene. And I want him to stay there for a little while. So maybe just move him just a tad. So he's going to kind of float in, hesitate a little while. In fact, I might even do a little rotation on him. And then we'll move this guy out to around 3.5 seconds. And I'm going to grab him and drag him off the screen. And I'm going to give him some rotation back the other way. And stop recording. And so you see it's added some keyframes, and at each position, it's applying those transform changes that we made. We changed his position. If you look over the inspector, you can see his position changing, and you can see his rotation changing. And so now if I click play on that animation,
Parachuting penguins.
and there it is. If I drag that down into my Puppet Demo folder. Actually, if I just say overrides apply all to apply it to the prefab, I can delete this guy here and just drag him into the scene and hit play.
Parachuting penguins.
And there it is. I've got my puppet. He's got an animation that animates his position and his rotation and plays an audio clip. And it was just that easy. So in the next video, what I want to do is show you how I created my puppet manager that would randomly play a puppet, animated puppet at the beginning of a level every time I started a level as sort of a cutscene. Kind of my little tribute to Mark Kister. And so if you found this video helpful, I ask you please do me a favor, click subscribe and click like and click that notifications button if you want to be notified when I post more videos. And if you have any questions or suggestions, I ask please leave a comment in the video below. And if there's any topic in particular you'd like me to cover in the future, let me know that in the comments as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.